IWC has a brand image that is connected with a pilot watch more than any other company name in the business. Few models in their collection have been able to compete with a large pilot, which has an aviation heritage dating back to the 1930s. As a result, it has established itself as one of the leaders in this industry. But what should you really know before buying the IWC Big Pilot 43? Well, this video primarily focuses on the Big Pilot 43 and will go over what you should consider before purchasing this watch. Hi there, I'm Megan and welcome to our channel. If you're new, please subscribe and tap the notification bell to be updated for more upcoming videos like this. First, consider its aviation heritage before going on to talk more about the inside of this wearable case, before addressing whether or not to purchase it. There aren't many watch designs that are considered iconic in the world of watchmaking, and that are undoubtedly deserving of that label. However, there is one that is unquestionably deserving of that distinction, the Flieger, or more precisely, Beobachtungsuhr, which is German for observer watch. The watches, which were also heavily used as flying instruments at the time, were genuinely enormous, measuring 55 diameters, and they came with an especially long leather strap that was designed to be worn outside of the wealthy pilot's jacket. The crown was also imposingly massive and designed to be handled with ease by pilots flying overhead. Although the design format has unavoidably bad overtones from World War II, it has transcended its military roots and evolved into a standard design format that many businesses have tried, but maybe none with as much success and significance to the brand's current position as IWC. IWC unveiled the first of its in-house homages to the original beat, or watches with the big pilots, in 2002 after spending decades in the brand's archives. Secondly, it is more wearable than ever. With a huge size that was nevertheless smaller than the original watch's 46mm, aesthetics that closely resembled the original watches, and an automatic manufacturing caliber with a remarkable 7-day power reserve on the side. Despite its size, the Big Pilot was an immediate hit, inspiring a variety of limited editions, complexities, and dial modifications, even though it actually only offered a wearable alternative for those who were willing to take the biggest risks. And that's where this 43mm Big Pilot comes into its own. Beyond a few noticeable modifications, like the significant increase in water resistance from 60 to 100 meters, it's critical to keep in mind that the Big Pilot 43 is more than just a new watch. In addition to the Big Pilot's model family that keeps the majority of the Type A dial format, distinctive screw-down, winding crown, simple brush case, and riveted leather strap all proportionally downsized in a way that keeps the charm and military-inspired legibility, but in a package that exponentially expands the potential audience for this watch. The Big Pilot remained towered over the great bulk of the industry with its size, even in the early 2000s when big watches were very much a part of the cultural zeitgeist. The fact that this watch is enormous is significant because it points to its history, which is once again out of the original Flea, which had a diameter of 55. However, many people felt that the original Big Pilots were simply too large, which led many brand devotees to turn to IWC's other legendary aviation collection in their Mark series, which has a rich history of its own. Now, with a 43mm diameter, 52.5mm lug-to-lug, and a 13.2mm thickness, the new Big Pilot 43 vertically divides the gap. Do not be fooled by the smaller case. This watch is still substantial. It is too huge, though, is the next question. And while my initial response is no, it's not always as simple as it usually is. Now, given that my wrist measures 6¼ inches, I doubt that I've ever choose a 43mm by 52.5mm by chance. But even though the recently released MK20 will probably make more sense to me, I believe that when you understand the history of this watch, it can still pull off more than you might have previously imagined. Now, I do believe that this watch is still likely too big. This is undoubtedly a significant decrease from the original 46 in a positive way for myself and many other people with comparable wrist sizes. A vintage-inspired riveted leather strap with a very smooth quick-release system is attached to the watch, between 21mm lugs, further enhancing the wearer. You may quickly take off the strap and replace it by pressing the steel tab on the strap's back during the operation. This watch also includes standard spring bars, so you're not confined to the factory alternatives, which is the best of both worlds in terms of spring bar possibilities. The deal, which has been scaled down, focuses exclusively on the essentials, emphasizing the huge numerals, orientation triangle at 12, and contrasting auto track for telling time. This makes it easier to tell the time both in strong light and in the dark, together with the Bloomfield leaf-style hands. Now, before we get deeper, please give a thumbs up if you're enjoying this video so far. And also, watch until the end because there's more of what you should know about the IWC Big Pilot 43. Also, do you want your comments to be highlighted? Try our super thanks, and your comments will be highlighted in this video, or join our membership program. Third, in-house caliber 82-100. The watch's large sapphire exhibition case back is visible when we turn it around, allowing a clear view of the 82-100 automatic calibers. IWC has responded to criticism regarding its price points and use of third-party calibers by integrating manufacturer calibers more and more into its collection. The 82-100 inside the Big Pilot 43 offers a slew of contemporary features as well as a surprisingly attractive level of machine decoration. The 82-100 manages a power reserve of 60 hours on a single barrel using IWC's Palladian bidirectional winding technology, oscillating at a Swiss standard of 28,800 vibrations per hour, or 4 Hz, with a free-sprawling architecture. Those parts that can wear out, like the automated wheel, are replaced by ceramic alternatives. It has a huge movement with a diameter of around 30mm, which naturally doesn't feel the case, but also doesn't seem too small for it to be a distraction. And lastly, to buy or not to buy. To know who this watch is for, what are some last-minute things to think about before you buy? And who is this watch best suited for? Let's look at some pros and cons. You're talking about $9,000 per watch when one is positioned. Additionally, you save almost $4,000 compared to the initial huge Pilot at 46mm for that price. The prolonged power reserve of the movement will offer significant benefits. It will significantly outperform this one. The fact that this one is 43mm smaller does not change the fact that it will still be a larger watch. And if you're still unsure, I'd probably advise choosing the Mark series rather than considering this watch before switching to the professionals. This watch, in my opinion, is among IWC's most recognizable models. IWC's large Pilot watch comes to mind when considering the dial's Type A style, simplicity, and the huge, enormous crown that is displayed at the 3 o'clock position. Simply said, it is a component of the IWC associated silhouette and design aesthetic. Both in the light and the dark, there is a legacy and legibility. Although the wearability of the lume is much better, it will still be too big for some people. I choose the Mark series if it's too big. However, I believe that the Pilot watch is ultimately what makes IWC so alluring and why it has been able to carve itself this niche. It has a valid reason. If you prefer this type of watch, it's because they strike a solid balance between tradition and value in the luxury market. And one thing to consider every time you try to evaluate a premium good is your capacity to miss a direct rival or counterpart in the market as a whole range. And I believe that if you want an IWC, you should get an IWC because there isn't a viable option that will give you the whole experience for less money when you take into account its pedigree, design language, and price range. The Big Pilot is the real deal if you do have your heart set on a conventional pilot watch of that style. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. This is Megan. If you're planning to buy Rolex watches together with this IWC Big Pilot 43, then I recommend you to know what are the experts' top pick Rolex watches. So click and watch the next video here.